Hey, this is Don Kryptonium. I'm still standing strong. In fact, I have never been better than I am now. But there is one thing that is not standing very strong, and this is Cosmos ecosystem shitcoins, rug pulls, scams, liars, and everyone who was involved in the massive fraud of the Cosmos ecosystem. And this was fueled by the massive airdrop season. And this is what we are going to discuss today. I am Don Kryptonium. Smash the like button to support Don Kryptonium, delegate atoms to Don Kryptonium, and let's discuss frauds that found the very comfortable loopholes to not be accused of being frauds. You see, I played comfortable in this video because I will not accuse the specific accounts, but it happened. And, many people like to say to me, show me the proof. Brother, we are talking blockchain. It's literally all there on the mint scan. You don't have to be clever. You don't have to know the code. You can go to mint scan and see all the data. The all proof is simply on the blockchain. So now let me present to you how this fraud that I'm describing works. And we need to go back a few years to understand how blockchain frauds and the scams actually worked. If you were back in 2017, 2018, there was ICO hype. What it means, initial coin offering. Many projects would come and claim to be next Ethereum, right? They would go on and decided to raise $20 million, $50 million, $10 million, whatever, in order to raise funds. In exchange, you would receive the tokens. Not all of them were frauds, but there were projects that would get the money and deliver nothing, or deliver not very interesting chain, so the ICO investors would lose. Some of the tokens would go up after the ICO investment, and the founders who had a lot of tokens would be able to dump it on the market and profit even more. In 2021 on Ethereum, you had IDO saga, which was essentially initial DEX offering. So you would create the shitcoin on Ethereum. It would be essentially just fork of the Uniswap or whatever, nothing interesting. And you would offer the tokens for the very low price. You would essentially get the influencers to sell them tokens for a very low price. Like you would raise 500,000, like some ridiculous number in exchange for like 10% of the token supply. The investors who are involved into this would be important influencers. So then the scheme worked that once the token launches, all of those influencers sell this as the next Uniswap, the great project, and everyone can dump tokens, right? So could we call it fraud? Probably we could. So how it relates to the Cosmos and the Cosmos fraud saga? You see, with ICO and with IDO, you can accuse those of being security. So how to make the loop that we can still benefit in millions of dollars, but without selling tokens? Airdrops. Many will say, hey, this is literally airdrop. This is free money. But yeah, this fraud can only work if you schedule it greatly. And I'm not accusing anything. So how to make it to not be a fraud? Because there is great teams in Cosmos, like Osmosis, like Stride, that would design it well and not abuse it. So, for example, Osmosis founders, they had the initial allocation to the founders. They also raised the money. But the initial allocation to the founders would be locked. So when the token launches and it's very high inflation, the founders cannot stake those tokens to get the rewards themselves and dump them, or get the rewards and go to Osmosis DEX and farm the shit out of their own tokens and other tokens. Osmosis founders couldn't do it, hence this was first airdrop, probably fair. I would assume the inflation too high, and other projects that got engaged actually abused the Osmosis. The Stride did rather smaller airdrop, and they never had this very high inflation that could be abused there, which is right. But there were projects that would allocate to themselves substantial amount of tokens, right? think of this, you receive a lot of tokens that are worth millions. You have big accounts involved into this. Who was it? You got big accounts involved into this, and the first day your token launches, you hype it up, you stake everything you have, and the first day the inflation is deep into 100%. You essentially farming shit out of your tokens that's supposed to be locked, but you could stake it. So you receive hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands in daily rewards. What you do next, you keep hyping this as the next revolutionary thing, the things that will change the Cosmos ecosystem. Then, as all of the validators that validate one network, for example Juno, a lot of them also is engaged into Osmosis. You make the proposal to incentivize Osmosis pools with Osmo tokens and with Juno tokens. As you have staked a lot and you made tons of the rewards, you take those rewards, you move them to Osmosis then, and again you start farming like a crazy motherfucker because there is no tomorrow. And this time you receive not only your own tokens, but you also receive Osmo tokens. So you can sell the other tokens that you receive essentially for free. Because the pool that was created often is used by the loan from Osmosis DAO, from Osmosis community. No expense. And then you keep going every day on Twitter and keep shilling. Some projects even decided to pay many Twitter influencers and keep shilling the projects. For example, Persistence, right? Persistence has those 100% deep liquidity pools, at the same time paying tens of influencers, maybe even hundreds, to hype up the project. And then the founders who had allocation, who could stake it and farm it, could easily dump it on the market. Did it happen? I don't know. I know it did happen with Juno, right? There is proof. I tell you, for example, going through one founder wallet, it's absolute nightmare because you go through one wallet and you end with tens of wallets. He had tens of wallets, continuously changing withdrawal wallet, tens of Osmosis wallets, multiple small spam transactions trying to hide it. Other founders who would also be considered as the owners, they also liquidated like millions in both tokens, in Juno and Osmosis, essentially at the same time using the Osmosis token, as the exit, hence scamming Osmosis community. So I tell you, which is really interesting to see, because despite the fact that, Osmosis should be most abused token over here, it's not, because the founders couldn't really farm it. It's down over 93%, but if you go to any project like Juno, if you go to any project like Persistence, if you go to project like Comdex, they are substantially down more than Osmosis. What's going on here? Right? What happened? They got farmed out by the insiders. And so you can see how the loops were used, and essentially for free they promoted tokens and they still created the buying pressure from the retail so they could benefit and go the way out. Many Juno people would claim, founders, that, hey, we buying back, and now I live on the ramen. I was told by one of the founder of Juno, but I checked his wallet and it was like well over $1 million liquidated. I'm like, do you mean you ran out with $1 million in the past year? Do you mean that's how you ended up on ramen? So just want you to know that if you see the project that do the free airdrop, and if the project allocate themselves big amount of tokens that can be staked, that are not locked for a year or two, more likely you will be the exit liquidity. So, and to be honest, this happens to majority of the Cosmos ecosystem. This is mass scale fraud that, if you would go deep to in the rabbit hole, you will end up with 9-digit numbers. This fraud was easily into tens of millions of dollars, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars. With that, Don Cryptoniums out. I hope all of these fraud chains will go to zero because that's what they deserve. And I hope all the people that perform these tricks on you as the community will never get a say, never get a place again in the Cosmos ecosystem nor any other ecosystem, you know? Because whatever you will say, if you did this, if you did the things that I said, you are essentially a bad person. In life, you can choose to be a good people or you can choose to be a robbers, and choose wisely, because if you choose to be a robbers, you will not be forgotten that doing this, and you will have to look yourself into the mirror knowing that you are simply a piece of shit. Don Cryptoniums out. Till the next time.